the blood which is coming into the glomerulus by the afferent arteriole, it is coming with high pressure. So that pressure is called hydrostatic pressure. Now that hydrostatic pressure, let me write it at one place so that you can remember it very well. This one, hydrostatic pressure. This pressure is called hydrostatic pressure. That hydrostatic pressure is 60 millimeters of mercury. So easily it can come inside, it can flow here. This is what we expect usually. But what happens is, in the glomerulus, this is the blood capillary. I am drawing just for the representation purpose. So in the glomerulus, I told you, in the blood capillary, there are certain large protein molecules which are present, and these protein molecules, they will repel, they will not allow the blood to flow inside. Then they are opposing the flow and they are called, so this hydrostatic pressure is opposed by two forces. One is the glomerular colloidal osmotic pressure. Glomerular colloidal osmotic pressure. This pressure is equal to 32 millimeters of mercury. This is opposing this. So I will write here, we will write here 60 mm mercury is getting opposed by 32 mm mercury, which is the osmotic pressure which is exerted by the colloids which are present. Where are they present? They are present in the glomerulus. That is why they are called the glomerular colloidal osmotic pressure. This is one thing. The next thing is, when you look at, I told you that the capsule is filled with the primary urine. This primary urine also opposes the flow of the blood here inside. It is not allowing it to flow inside. Then it is also exerting a negative pressure here, and that is called the Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule, capsular, because it is present in the Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsular hydrostatic pressure. This is also liquid. Wherever there is a liquid pressure, wherever there is a liquid and that liquid exerts a pressure, that is called hydrostatic pressure. So Bowman's capsular hydrostatic pressure, that is equal to 18 mm mercury. Now when you look here, I can write this. This is also opposing the hydrostatic pressure with which the blood is flowing inside. That is called the Bowman's capsular hydrostatic pressure. This is formed by the primary filtrate. This is because of the protein that is present in the blood. The protein molecules which have remained back during the filtration, they are exerting one pressure. So this is equal to 18. This will come totally to Hg. When you compare this or when you calculate this, this will come round to somewhere around 10 mm mercury. This is called net glomerular filtration rate, filtration pressure, net filtration pressure. So this is the pressure with which the blood is filtered into the Bowman's capsule. So blood which is coming, actually it is coming with very high pressure. These two factors are reducing the pressure And even in spite of that, the blood is entering into the Bowman's capsule. Blood is entering into the Bowman's capsule. Why it is happening is because there are holes in the glomerular capillaries also. There is also hole in the visceral layer of the Bowman's capsule. We will look at that now. When you look here, you will find that the Bowman, there is one membrane which is formed. That membrane is called the filtration membrane. Filtration membrane is formed. Where is this present? This is present near the glomerular side of the Bowman's capsule. It is made up of three components. First component is the endothelium. Endothelium of the blood vessels. Blood capillaries. Instead of writing blood vessels, I will write blood capillaries. Second one is the basement membrane. This basement membrane, let me write the third one also. I will come back to the basement membrane again. The third one is the podocytes. Podocytes of the visceral layer of Bowman's capsule. Now the basement membrane is formed by a part which comes from the endothelium, a part which comes from the podocyte. These two join together to give rise to 3 layers basement membrane. We will not go in depth into about the basement membrane, but what you have to remember is this: there are 3 membranes here. Now when you look here, this is the basement membrane. On the basement membrane, you will find that this is the endothelium that is present, and next one is the podocytes which have this kind of layer which is present. Now there is a gap between the podocytes also, which is called the filtration slits. So this filtration membrane is highly porous. It is highly porous, but why it is highly porous is because there is a gap in the endothelium also. Now let us look at the gaps which are present. I am writing about the gap which are present here. In the endothelium, there are gaps, and these gaps are called fenestrations. So each endothelium there will be a gap present, that is called a fenestration, and this fenestration is about 40 microns. 40 micron. This gap is very small. Next one, you have the capillary endothelium. That is what is that. Next one, you have the podocytes. In the podocytes, there is a gap which is called the filtration slits. Filtration slits, and they are 100 microns gap is there. Now this gap, through this gap at 10 mm mercury pressure, blood enters into the Bowman's capsule. Now when you look at the podocytes, this is the blood capillary, and the podocyte, this is the pedicle of the podocyte, and then you have the head of the podocyte. This is a very rough diagram, just a simple diagram for you to understand. Okay. It is covering the blood capillary like this. This is the nucleus present here. From here there are the pseudopodia like extensions which are there, which is totally covering the blood capillary. This is the blood capillary which is covered. Okay. So now the primary, we have reached only till the primary filtrate. The next part we will look in the, I was telling to you that formation of urine. So let me just explain to you once again. Formation of the urine takes place in the, it takes place in your here it takes place in the glomerulus. This is the place where the formation takes place. I'll write it here, glomerulus. These are the blood vessels. Afferent arteriole is there. Efferent arteriole is there. Look at the diameter here. Okay. After this glomerulus, we will come to the next one, that is the proximal convoluted tubule. I will talk about the proximal convoluted tubule or selective reabsorption in the next lecture. We'll stop the lecture here with the formation of primary urine. So, let me revise it once again. Today I started the lesson with the yeah. So, I started the lesson with urine formation. In the urine formation, we have urine, the amount of urine which is produced is almost 1 to 1.5 liters per day. The color of the urine is pale yellow in color. It is slightly acidic. It is slightly acidic. That means that it has the average. It comes down to 6 pH. The pH of urine is 6. This is what you have to say. Then there is no odor to the urine. But on long standing, urine gives a smell, and that smell is because of ammonia. The component of the urine is, most of the percentage is water. Next one. After that, let us come to the how the filtration takes place. Filtration takes place because through the renal artery, the blood enters into the kidney, and in the renal artery there is a blood plus waste. We don't want to remove the blood, we want to remove the waste. So, and another thing also removed in the urine is the ions and the water. And basically this will help in maintaining hemostasis. Due to hemostasis, the amount of urine remains, the amount of blood remains same. The pH is also maintained, the ionic balance is also maintained because of excretion only. The next one, we have the arterioles. Each arteriole, suppose there are 1 million nephrons. For each nephron, there is one arteriole present, and it forms into the afferent arteriole. Nephron is also called the structural and functional unit of kidney. Now, there are 4 steps in the urine formation. Today, we have finished only one part, that is the glomerular filtration. The second part is the selective reabsorption, tubular secretion and excretion. These 2 parts, that is the selective reabsorption and tubular secretion, these 2 take place in the tubule. Only the glomerular filtration takes place in the renal capsule, and I taught only about the glomerular filtration. The glomerular filtration takes place in the glomerulus. So here I explained to you about the renal capsule, and now let us come to the next part, that is the glomerular filtration. The amount of primary filtrate that is produced. This is not the quantity of the blood that is filtered. The amount of, okay, I raised that, I think, maybe. So let us come back here. The amount of blood that is getting filtered is per minute. You have almost per minute, you have almost, I'll write it in red. Per minute you have about 1100 to 1200 ml of blood enters into per minute enters into the nephron through the afferent arteriole. Through the afferent arteriole. So in each kidney, all the nephrons, all the arteriole, this is the amount of blood that is entering into the nephron. All nephrons in the kidney. This is equal to almost 1/5 of the blood that is pumped by the ventricle. Which ventricle? That this is the left ventricle. From the left ventricle, 1/5 whatever blood is pumped, from that 1/5 of the blood is entering into the kidney, and that is going into the afferent arteriole. That afferent arteriole is entering into the nephron. And at the end of the filtration, 125 ml is present in each nephron. 125 ml is present in each nephron. Okay, per minute. Okay, now at the end we have just finished till the primary filtrate. I will continue the lecture with the next session. In the next session, we will check about what happens to the primary filtrate and how the urine. The primary filtrate is hypotonic, but the urine which we excrete out is hypertonic. Primary, when you say hypotonic, it has more amount of water, but the urine which we are excreting out is hypertonic. That is, the quantity of water is highly reduced. So all the water is reabsorbed. With this, I'll end the session here now.